Hey guys, welcome back. Robocrafft Early Access coverage. This is episode 18. I'm Enigmius, and today we're getting into some matches with the Spider Bee. As promised, we built the bee. We took 3 episodes to build it. Now we're going to see how it does in actual combat. Before we get into that, very quickly, I just want to go over some of the minor revisions that I've made since the last episode. First of all, you can see there's a lot more red than there used to be. As I've had the RP coming in, I've been spending it on the red blocks, replacing the yellow blocks with red blocks, and then taking the yellow blocks we just took off and replacing the blue blocks with those yellow blocks. As you can see, now we're mostly red and yellow with a little bit of blue left over that we're working through as we can afford it, basically. So we're making good progress there. The other thing, very quickly, is that one of the glaring weaknesses of this bot is Plasma Splash. I've been one-shot from 100%, 500,000 damage plus. It sucks. It's really obnoxious. And the only thing that we can do is get more blocks down towards the ground between where the plasma is hitting and where our driver's seat is. That's all it ever is when we're dealing with the armor core, is routing the damage as best we can so that it has to go through as many blocks as possible before it gets to the things that we want to keep, and then adding as many blocks as possible within our CPU limit to increase the amount of damage we can absorb before it gets to the blocks that we want to keep. So you can see, actually, that's the driver's seat up in there. Now, just because you can see it doesn't mean the damage can go directly to it. That's not the problem. The problem, and the reason why I'm showing you this, is the back of the driver's seat then would be right about there, and you can see just how relatively few blocks there are between the back of the driver's seat and the ground. Literally like half a dozen blocks if they get a really good streak going up. Not ideal. We're a little bit better protected than that. The routing goes a little bit longer, but we're talking about plasma. Tier 9 and 10 plasma cannons. They aren't doing like 3,000 damage. They're doing like 30 and 40,000 damage splashed up from underneath. And that's why it's a problem. So I've been adding some extra blocks. You can see these areas here and these ones here, as I have the CPU and the blocks, to basically build out and again provide more blocks between the damage and the driver's seat so that we can survive, ideally, those things a little bit better. So once I have more CPU and more blocks, I'm thinking maybe bringing it down one more, because you can see we've got this one down that low and it doesn't seem to be causing much of a problem, but I might be pushing my luck putting it in the middle like that. Worst case scenario, we're going to extend these back up into there, and then we're going to build some stuff in and around down here to absorb more of that damage. I don't mind getting hit really, really well. I don't mind opponents having that kind of thing, because I do it to other people too, but I want them to have to earn it. I don't want them to get a one-shot because they're flying around in an OP blot bot. That's just the way it is. So we're going to continue enhancing our bot as we go, and then we're gonna try it out. We make some additions, we make some changes, and then we go try it out. So let's go do that. We've got 4 matches for you today. Let's get down to it. Well, this first match is a pretty good example in how to be normal. It's a very straightforward match. It's one of the first ones that I did when I sat down to record the footage for this episode. And it's on a map that I really don't like. I've never really liked this map. This is a really good map for flyers because of the terrain. It's manageable as a hover vehicle, and walkers have certain advantages, but if you're a wheeled vehicle, man, this whole map just sucks. And even as a walker, you saw how far I had to fly just to get to this spot, and this is really the only spot that I feel I can be truly useful on this map on a consistent basis, which means sometimes I'm not going to be useful, but most of the time I have a better chance than if I were to stay in the back lines trying to work some sort of weird rear guard nonsense. So now I'm actually pushed far enough forward that I have line of sight on the enemy base. Very clear line of sight. We've got obviously another one of my teammates down there, very aggressive, push forward, kind of put himself in a position to either achieve great glory or die horribly. And now I'm basically in a support role. And that's something that it's really easy to forget as a railgun vehicle bot, that we work best as kind of a support role. We're kind of watching what's going on and we're putting down supporting fire that can really mess up the enemy and create a lot of chaos and disarray. But realistically, unless the entire enemy team is flyers that really don't know how to look for targets, railguns aren't the front of the vanguard. You know, we're not the tip of the spear. We're not the best in show. We're just looking for a place where we can fit in and do some damage without putting ourselves so far out of line that we can't actually ever get anything done. Now at this point, I've done some damage to some enemy vehicles. I just finished that one guy off, and now I've got a bunch of teammates down here capping, and I'm thinking to myself, there's points to be had down there by going down and helping them to cap. And not only that, I didn't really have any enemy targets anyways. There has to be a point with a vehicle like this where you realize you have nothing to shoot at, and just sitting where you are waiting for something to shoot at, maybe not the best approach. So here we've got a guy coming down the hill. I see a lot of people in a situation like this. Your team is trying to cap, and you're taking fire in a fully mobile vehicle, and you just sit there and eat it. Get to cover. Get out of the way. Make the guy work for the interruption on the cap. That's... You know, it just takes a little bit of thought to say that it's never a good time to just sit there and eat it to the face when you're trying to cap. So that's what we did. Straightforward victory. This match, on the other hand, didn't go so well. Normally, just because of the length of the match and the setup, I don't show losses, particularly losses where I get destroyed. And it's not because I'm trying to paint a picture of myself being something greater than I am. It's because if you've only got a 2-minute match because you got destroyed early, by the time the match is started and you get into that whole setup phase and all that other stuff, you haven't really shown anything. You've taken 2 minutes to show 15 seconds worth of stuff that's interesting. But in this case, the enemy players actually impressed me enough that I thought it would be worth showing this match. This is the same map as we were just on, just spawned on the other side. And again, I fly over to try and take up a position where I can be useful. I'm keeping an eye out for flyers early in the game because this is just, as you're going to see, the one downside to this position on the map is that it's very, very easy to get flyers coming at you from both sides, and then you are screwed. You are royally screwed because you can't defend from so much nastiness headed your way. So this is actually a medic flyer, and he just ate it with the one shot from the railgun because he's trying to take an offensive role. You can't do that anymore. So I'm thinking to myself, I just took out the rail flyer, I'm reloading, I've got an interceptor on my butt, this is not a good place for me to be in. I turn around, here's another guy, we're trying to deter him from coming after us, he's still shooting at us, now he's dead, so that's 2 kills. And the interceptors just keep coming. And they're all coming from the same place. This is very smart. This is very smart use of resources. Concentrate as a team in one location and just push hard. And that's what they did, and that's why I died. So, good for them. They earned that one. And this is my favorite map, I think, right now. Because the spot that I take up is very rarely a bad spot. The only time this spot ends up being a bad spot is if I get jumped from behind by a plasma bomber, which only happens if I just kind of derp out and not pay attention to what's going on behind me for a little while. Very early, I get up on this ridge, and now I'm, just getting some scout points, really. That's what I'm trying to do, but we've got the one interceptor from our team that flew out ahead. He's taken all of my scouting points, and that's fine. But he's got himself into a bit of trouble, and really, there's no one there to help him. That's one of the difficulties when you push forward like that by yourself. Man, you got to be careful, because there's that fine line between I'm an aggressive scout and look at what I'm doing for my team, and oh crap, that's the entire enemy team and I'm dead. It's just, and I do it. I think everyone does it. It's just something to be aware of. So now my team is advanced. They've engaged the enemy up in that direction, and they're doing it not too bad. Now, one of the things that I want to do is, one, very important, avoid being pinned down. Like, you see this SMG brick down there? Just constantly firing at me. My bot can handle that for the most part. That's why I put all those armor blocks in the front end, is so that I can take that kind of abuse for a short while and still make him regret the decision to sit there like a derp and let me get clean shots on him, and that's exactly what that guy ended up doing. At this point, I'm thinking in terms of what's my team doing and what am I doing and what's the enemy doing, and that's cycling in my head this whole time. We've got an unspotted rail walker, I would assume, on the far ridge that just clipped me, and I'm okay. I haven't lost any more guns than I did after the SMG guy, but he's going to try and pin me down. So what I want to do is I want to be focused on where I can do something useful for my team without putting myself in the line of fire, because my team is safe in that valley. That railgun can't hit any of them. He can't even see any of them. So I'm just going to leave him alone and try and do some support damage and do what I can to help my team win. That's kind of the thing. There's certain thoughts and contexts that I've found really, really helpful. What can I do for my team? It's not, some people, they just kind of think, where can I find the bad guys? And sometimes it's, where can I avoid most of the bad guys and maybe find some stragglers to make myself look useful? I've seen a few guys like that today. It's just looking at where your team is, looking at where you are, and looking where the known enemy is. Helpful, again, to check behind you from time to time so that the unknown enemy doesn't get the jump on you. That's happened to me so many times on this ridge that it's been drummed into me. And now looking at it, we've got our medics down there are taking shots at the bad guys. There's 2 easy kills for me. Now this match ends up being a slugfest. I don't mind telling you up front. This is one of those epic matches that you just want to tell stories about, even though there's no way to tell an interesting story about it, short of boring people to death for 90% of the story. So we're just going to show the video and it'll be that much better. First thing I did was I missed my ridge because I was a little disoriented based on where I spawned, so we have to go back and correct that. Now you can see the lane. Whenever I look back, you can see the lane. It's basically, if you're at the enemy base in a match like this, you have 2 options. You can go the route that the enemy goes to see that area directly up ahead, or you can go the opposite side of the map and come up around behind me on this ridge. So that's why it's really important for me to try and keep an eye on that, or at least be aware that the enemy could show up there at any time, is because it's an actual lane. It's not like they have to do anything super sneaky to get there. They just have to choose not to go with everyone else, which is sometimes the best thing that you can do. You can see over there, it's completely concealed until they basically get to our spawn area. So at this point, again, reloading means I'm trying to stay out of sight. It's not even so much avoiding fire. It's I don't even want to get spotted while I'm reloading, because then other people start maneuvering to get into firing range of me, if that's what they want to do, like flyers. Plasma bombers still make me very sad. But now that I'm reloaded again, first thought is what's going on with my team and how can I support them? And they're really spread out. And that's a problem. You saw that SMG tank. He's got a lot of guns, but no support, which is a really rough kind of situation to be in. That's how you get picked off and basically lose matches. So you can see there's a plasma bomber behind me, and then there was another SMG that just shot me. Thankfully to him, he kind of tipped me off that, hey, pay attention. So we relocate, and then we kind of take a look and see if anyone followed. Is there anyone back here that we want to be shooting at? And we have to think also, we just relocated, where's the best place to be? So we just kill one guy, and then we turn around, flyer being a flyer, trying to sneak up behind us. He's nothing now. So that's 2 easy kills for me. And now I'm kind of looking, and I see over half my team is dead. Over half the enemy team is dead. We've got this walker up there who's really, really slow to get a bead on me, and I'm very grateful for that. I tend to rush my shots a lot, even though I know that realistically speaking, if I want to get the most out of this vehicle, I have to be patient. But sometimes the best way to suppress the enemy and get them out of your face for a little while is to get a snapshot or 2 on them and make them think twice about sitting where they are long enough to get an accurate shot. So now we've got a medic. Enemy medic, and again, it's one of these guys who's completely clad in electroplates. I don't really want to leave that guy where he is. I do not want him repairing his teammates without any kind of pressure on him. I see that, where it's kind of like there will be like 2 or 3 enemy medics, and they're healing one guy who's basically crippled, but you'll have 2 or 3 friendly guys shooting at the crippled guy because he's apparently an easy kill, and kills are points and stuff, which is awesome, isn't it? And the medics just keep healing through it. Kill the medics. Put pressure on the medics. Make them want to run away. This guy is just, I was looking at him and I'm trying to, it helps to understand if you can look at something and you see the symmetry, because that indicates if I'm going to bore through the vehicle to get to the driver's seat, where's that going to happen? I couldn't do it with that guy. I don't know if he was damaged or if he just wonky bot. It was very odd, is what I'm saying. And this match just keeps going, and I'm looking around and I'm trying to find out where my teammates are, and I'm missing a wing. But the way that my bot is built, you don't necessarily notice at a glance that you're missing a wing until you try and fly. So we're like, okay, screw the flying bit for now. Let's do what we can to get into a firing position on someone, or at least relocate. And here's that guy that we were shooting before. Apparently we did a good job because he's sliding down the hill on his head. And I'm kind of looking at him and I'm trying to get a feel for whether or not he's still actually got railguns. He does. And you hear that annoying, like, your team isn't going to come any faster to help you if you spam the fucking button, pal. Just leave it alone. Being a jerk. And now I'm looking and I see there's one of them and there's one of me. And look, he left. It's like he's trying. It's an intruder alarm. He left the laser across. So he gave away his position, which, as far as I've been able to tell, the only time that the railguns produce that laser is when you zoom in. So I don't know why you would be zooming in. It doesn't make him any more accurate, but all it does is project that laser beam so that I know he's there. If he had not done that and sat there aimed in, he probably could have got enough clean shots on me before I was even aimed in on him to disable me or destroy me. Because broadside, this vehicle is at a bit of a disadvantage compared to some of the other directions that I could face. So I'm missing a leg and a wing, and I don't want to walk out in front of this guy because it's not an advantaged position for me. He knows where I am. I'm not expecting to sneak up on him, but I want to make sure that if I'm going to put myself out there, that I'm in as much of an advantaged position as he is, and get as many shots as I can on him, disable the weapons if I can, and we did okay. So I don't know if he's trying to run or fly or maybe just dance and kind of like pretend, look, we're actually friends, look, we can dance together, stop shooting please. I don't know. All I know is that was his one gun and it didn't really do a lot. He took off one of my guns, but I have 3 and he only had 1. And that'll be the end of the match. We've got more match footage in the next episode. If you like what you see here with the commentary, let me know. If you didn't like certain parts of it, let me know that too. If you want to be notified when I add the next video, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe or follow me on the social media. Links for the social media are in the information section below the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.